welcome all dongers and non-dongers to another video from the dongers of Runeterra. That's so many dongers in there. What we're gonna do here today is I'm going to start ranking cards basically from every region. We're gonna do it step by step. Gonna start with Bilgewater, and we're gonna start with followers and spells that cost 0 to 1, and then we're gonna go for 2 and 3, and then in another video we will go through 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and then we will go to the champions. So there will be 3 videos per region, so we get the most covered. We're gonna do top 5 cards of those things. With champions, we're gonna rank every champion. I think there are 5 or 6 champions in every region, so that doesn't really matter, and we go more in depth about those. And I'm gonna argue a little bit why the card is there and stuff like that. And this is based on my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily true, and in 2 weeks it might not matter. There might be a buff or a nerf, so you have to take that in consideration. So this is my opinion right now of the games I've seen and stuff like that. So it's just fun to do a ranking list. And here at 0 and 1 cost, there is literally a card that costs 0, and it's the warning shot. The rest is 1 cost. We have the Crackshot Corsair, Dredgers, Giant Butcher, Jailbreak, Edison, Parlay, Plunder Poro, Pull Shark, Prowling Cutthroat, Shell Shocker, and You've Been Warned. Almost every one of these has seen some place in some decks, some variations, some top decks, but there are few that have seen as much play as those cards I am going to bring to the top 5. So there's a clear 5th place that is been played more than the other cards, but not as much as the other 4, and it's the Parlay. I'm gonna go in here with the Parlay. You deal 1 damage to anything. If it kills it, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. You can also use it as 1 damage into the nexus to trigger plunder stuff. And this is a very versatile card. It's slow, so it takes a little bit of time. Easy to play. It doesn't have too much power in it, but it fits well into the Bilgewater region that has a lot of plunder and stuff like that, and it goes great in aggro metas when you play with a lot of low health characters, even in versus elusive that usually have low health. This card wasn't played a lot before, but has definitely started rising play, even getting into Bilgewater Pill Tower when you Ezreal TF and stuff like that. So this card is up on the uprising, and it's a good card. It's a good card. It doesn't break anything, but it's good. It's not, the reason why it's not higher up is because there is either something better, or like the next 2 cards, they are vital to the deck. This is a card you can move out, won't hurt too much, but it's better than most things when you put it in. So the next card on the 4th place is Edison. Edison, you toss 4 for 1. So in most decks this card sucks, right? But in deep it doesn't. In deep it is such a good card, because you want to get deep. You want to toss your cards down to 15, and you can make some good things with Edison. You can just burst down 4, get closer to deep, get closer to your champions, because you can't discard champions or toss champions. It's not discard, sorry. And you can do great plays, because when you have 19, somewhere between 16 and 19 cards out there, and you have a deep character, a sea monster out there, or a Nautilus that has no damage yet, you can just go out and attack and fake an attack, and then play Edison and go deep under the attack, so they get confused. It really messes up the battle. So you have playmaking in the Edison, and that it's important, like you don't build a deep deck without 3 Edison. Some people play 2 or 3 Edison is like 100%. If you play a deep deck without it, you're at the moment stupid, or doesn't have the card. I'm gonna let that one slide also, but you don't toss it away and choose something else. So that's a great card. The other card fills up mostly the same in the same category. 3rd place is the Dredgers. It's recently nerfed. It was a 2 and 1 before. That was magical, like completely magical, to be a 2 and 1 and toss 3. So it almost tosses as much as the Edison, but it's also a 1 and 1 dude that can blocks. That is super strong. nothing can argue with that really. So that one, it fills up the same categories as the Edison. It's not a card you play in any other deck. You'd rather play the Dredgers than the Edison in another deck, but you don't want to play it. But it's super vital. I have never seen a deep deck without 3 of these. Edison, you sometimes cut one. The Dredgers you don't. So that's why he comes above Edison, even if he doesn't have the playmaking potential like the Edison has. Because he's also a blocker that helps you sustain the early game. And the reason why Edison and Dredgers doesn't get the 1 and 2nd place is because they are only functioning in one archetype, but they are so good in that. So that's why they got 3rd and 4th. 2nd place, you get the Warning Shot. It's such a versatile card. It costs 0. You can play it you play it in everything almost that has the plunder trigger, because it just helps you to do that, and it also helps you stack Sejuani, it helps you stack Gangplank, Swain, and get those effects on the floor, and it sets up the Reptide Rex. It sets up so many great plays, and it's for free. It's just an amazing card. You don't play it in every deck because like every deck is not out for a 1 damage burst. You need more power cards because you don't have the combo or the aggro that you're looking for. But it's so high value from that card when you have something that triggers off it afterwards. So that's why that's why that one comes in at 2nd place. And that's a card you can have everywhere compared to the Edison and Dredgers. For example, and this one is not set to one specific deck like Deep, that is Maokai Nautilus. You don't do anything else in Deep. Maybe you add a Thresh, which is just worse, but you can do that. But it's still the same concept with Sea Monsters. You play Warning Shot in MF Sejuani, you play Warning Shot in TF combined with Ezreal, with TF combined with Swain. You have so many ways to use this one. And then you might wonder, why isn't it first? It's because the Giant Butcher is here. It's a 2/2, 1 cost, with the potential to go 3/3. With a little bit of help of the Warning Shot, you get a 3/3 unit round 1. This is, I think, by far the best 1-drop in the game. Maybe the Fearsome Spider with 2/1 can argue with it, but there is, if I can remember right, there is no other 1-drop. The Omen Hawk could be better because it buffs other things, but there is no other 1-drop that can battle him head to head. If he comes out as a 2/2, you best go even with him. At 3/3, there is nobody that survives that one. They just die, so you have to let him through or take a bad trade. If you just compare him to Demacia, has the 1-drop. I think Sidra something, I don't remember what it's named. It's a 2/2 as well for 1, but it doesn't have any way to get better. So, and that's actually a solid drop that people have played a lot. Sometimes you play the Flutter Hawk Wing, that 2/1 with the Challenger, because that leaves more options. But that's a played card, and this one is that, but potential for 3/3, which isn't too hard to set up. And actually, like, playing him in a plunder deck, you can play him round 2 and 3 and come out for 1 a 3/3. It's insane. It's insane. So he is the best one here. So he's rank 1 in this category. So we will go continue into the 2 and 3 drops of Bilgewater. They are a little more, they're higher. There are more options here, so this one was harder to judge, but there is also a lot of cards here that isn't used as much, to be honest. So at 5th place, we will go with the Monkey Idol. This one wasn't really easy. Everything from 3rd down wasn't that easy to judge here, but the Monkey Idol has gotten a little bit of a rise in the end. It's and it works really great with Swain, GP, and Sejuani, for example. It's a great way to hit some direct damage on all turns, to set up these big beefy guys that can carry you through the late game. It also adds another blocker all the time, that is from a 2/1, so it's not awesome to block it when it attacks, and it's not awesome to have it blocking against you. So it's a good card. It's not breaking anything at the moment, but it's a good card since they buffed it. And it's not in every deck. Like every Bilgewater deck does not run this card, but it's good when you can utilize it well. It's good. So at 4th place is an old hero card, the Pilfered Goods. Before it was a 2-cost, it was not Nab, you took it from the top of the deck. That was completely broken and would probably be the best card here if it was still that. But this one is still great. Like, you have the potential to pull 2 cards, and in combination you can have it cheaper from the opponent's deck. Like, the opponent does not know what you're setting with, so you have you're sitting with so many infinite possibilities that the opponent cannot prepare against you when you have drawn cards from their deck. And 2 cards for 3 is pretty solid. When it was 2 cards for 2, that was great, even if you didn't get the discount. Now it's a little bit harder to set up. It's the same to set up, but you don't get the same reward for it. So that's why it's in 4th. And it's played in all the plunder decks still. Some people have cut 3 for 2 because it's not as easy as play it anymore, because it's a 3 cost instead of a 2. But it's still a good card, and it claims a 4th spot instead of a 1st one. And we'll see if they keep it here or they will tweak it anymore. But for now, it's a 4th place card. And then we go back to another follower. It's the hired gun, which have been played quite a lot. It goes out and in a little depending on if there are specific cards you really want to get that are big cards, because she really targets the biggest one, gets them vulnerable, so sooner or later you will get to kill that one. Hired gun is something I personally played a lot when I played MF Sejuani. She's doing a great job. She's also 2 and 3, which is actually very good, because it's not easy to kill her as a blocker, and when you attack you have a lot of things that do 2 damage, and she just blocks that and survives, so she can block another time. It's really the crucial for her positioning here is that she is a 2 and 3. If she was a 3 and 2, she would actually be worse in my opinion, because most of these decks are waiting to set up. You don't really want to push through a lot of damage early. You don't mind if you push through damage, but Bilgewater decks really wants to set up things. If you talk about, some people even add her in deep decks. I don't really know if that's necessary, but she's versatile, and vulnerable is a nasty trait to have on one of your carries, because you don't want to invest too much on it, because sooner or later it's gonna die, unless you have massive protection, which you usually don't have. Like, because then you have to spend all that on protecting that all the time, so you don't get out of the board. So she's great, and deserved a 3rd place. It was just hard to get into the top 2, because that's a clear cut above the rest. 2nd place is the Make It Rain. Make It Rain has been a staple card as an event for a long time now. If you play Bilgewater, there was a time where you didn't play them as much, but then you started to realize they completely destroyed aggro decks when they have a lot of 1 health units out. You win games out of this card, and that's compared to the Hired Gun and Monkey Idol, for example. Pilfered Goods can win you games, but it's not as usual as Make It Rain. And when you play the Make It Rain, you can see you win the game. Pilfered Goods is a gamble. It also sets up things like GP, Sejuani, and Swain. Even Ezreal, if you play with it, like it targets a couple of enemies. It's such a great card, and it works so great with Misfortune. You attack, she does 1 to everything. The opponent think it can blocks with the 2 health things, and you just drop the Make It Rain and just completely trash your opponent. I really love this card, and I usually play 3 of it when I play Bilgewater. it just really destroys things, and it's awesome with the powder kegs that they can have. You can do so much with the Make It Rain. That's all I'm gonna try to say. And lastly, the number one, I think you figured it out. It's the Petty Officer. It's just too good to not like be talked about. It's a 3-2 that summons another 1-cost follower or a powder keg if you see that you have a great opportunity. Most people just spawns the not the powder keg, just spawns the extra follower. You can get so much value from it. You can get an Omen Hawk that buffs the next 2 cards. You can get their Thermal in an attacking round that does 4/3. Like you can get like elusives. You can get so many things that it's and it doesn't really matter which one you get, because you get an extra unit for 3. You play 2 units for 3, and one of them is a 3-2. And the one otherwise is at worst a 1-on-1. At worst a 1-on-1. Could be a 2-2 and stuff like that. So this one would probably not even made the list before when it was a 3-1, because it's so easy to kill a 3-1. But this, just because it's a 3-2 now, really rise. So that's about it. The Petty Officer was the winner of the 2 and 3 cost column, and in the 0-1 cost there was the Giant Butcher, and both were followed by spells. One was the Warning Shot and one was the Make It Rain. So if you like these videos where we rank cards and stuff like that, just leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And you can check us out on Discord. There's a link to Discord over there. We discuss decks, we have tournaments, we're a really nice crew over there. You can support us through Patreon if you have the money for it, and things that we're doing good job. And you can lastly follow me, Imsohumble, on stream as well. I stream about 5 times a week. I post updates about that in the Discord channel as well. So I think that's about it. All the boring stuff. If you're still here, thank you for that, and see you on the next video. Dong is out.